In the USSR, there was a secret program to study the human brain, not out of curiosity, not for pure science, but because communism desperately needed to prove one thing, that all people are equal, not metaphorically, not morally, literally, in the structure of the brain. The logic was brutally simple. If all brains are the same, then there is no natural elite, no inborn differences, no real inequality, which means the system is right, which means the ideology works. So they started collecting brains, literally the brains of party leaders, scientists, public figures, outstanding people. They sliced them into thousands of microscopic sections, examined them under microscopes, compared them, measured them, and searched for proof of the dogma. And that's where things got uncomfortable. The brains were different. Some had subfields, some didn't. Some had unusually developed structures, others barely had them. There was no single, standard brain. So part of that information quietly disappeared, because when reality argues with ideology, ideology doesn't back down. Reality gets ignored. And this isn't really a story about the USSR. It's a story about how any system is afraid to admit that people are not equal in brain structure, even when it loudly claims otherwise. Let's drop the illusions. The brain is not a shining engine of progress. It's a lazy, horny, poorly controlled piece of biology that wants three things its entire life: to eat, to sleep, and to reproduce. And once it's fed, rested, and satisfied, a fourth program kicks in: dominance. In plain terms, showing off, proving to the group that you're better. That's why economics, advertising, and civilization in general manipulate us so easily. Shiny white gadgets aren't white because it's practical. They're white because the brain wants to glow in front of the tribe. A black one won't stand out. What's the point? These are instincts, and the brain loves them. Actual thinking, inventing new things, digging into math, understanding how the universe works. The brain hates that. There's no immediate reward, no meat, no offspring. Biology doesn't pay for it. Here's a slap in the face for a lot of smart people. Reading, counting, playing chess. None of that automatically means intelligence. Insects can count and memorize patterns. Chess is mostly memory and brute force calculation. Combinatorics, not creativity. That's why computers crushed humans in checkers almost instantly, and then in chess. Machines are great at memory and calculation. Real creativity is rare, expensive, and energy hungry, and the brain avoids it whenever possible. There is a popular myth that the human brain stopped evolving around 100,000 years ago. That's simply not true. The brain is still evolving, sometimes shockingly fast. The problem is that it's not evolving toward wisdom or depth. It's evolving toward what benefits the population and the social system, and sometimes that means going backward. Our ancient ancestors lived in near-paradise conditions. East Africa wasn't a desert. It was jungles, wetlands, protein-rich environments, fruits everywhere, and relatively low danger. And what happens to any creature in paradise? It doesn't start composing symphonies or building rockets. It does exactly what modern billionaires do when all problems are solved. reproduce, compete, and display status. Yachts, jets, mansions, smart homes. That's not intelligence. That's baboon hierarchy with Wi-Fi. For about 10 million years, selection was almost entirely sexual and social. No survival pressure, no real danger. As a result, the brain didn't grow as a tool of understanding. It grew as an add-on to sexual instincts and social games. Evolution played a brutal joke. Our intellect grew out of systems designed to serve instincts. Climate changed. It got colder, drier. Food became scarce. Suddenly you're not king of the jungle anymore. No claws, no fangs, no armor, just a weak, upright body. About 90% of those paradise creatures died. The survivors weren't enlightened. They just had no choice. They started using the only thing left, the brain. The real breakthrough wasn't wisdom. It was learning to share food with non-relatives. That's huge. Animals hate sharing. Try taking a bone from a dog, even one you fed yourself. Humans had to suppress aggression for the group to survive. That required braking systems, frontal lobes. These aren't genius centers. They're biological brakes that stop the group from tearing itself apart. Only later did humans start using those brakes for thinking. Here's the uncomfortable part. Ancient migrations weren't heroic adventures. They worked like this. A stable group forms, and problematic individuals accumulate. Two types, the overly aggressive and the overly smart. Both destabilized the group. What happened to them? Today we'd isolate or institutionalize them. Back then they were expelled or eaten, mostly expelled. Those expelled individuals moved into new environments, adapted faster than others, and formed new populations. Stability, conflict, expulsion, migration, over and over again. As long as there was somewhere to go, brain evolution accelerated. When Homo sapiens dominated and competitors disappeared, life became mostly social. Large groups, rules, cooperation, conformity. You don't need a 1700-gram brain for that. You need a brain that's convenient. So brain size started shrinking. This wasn't degeneration, it was social selection. We reproduced the normal, the safe, the average. The strange, the too smart, the too different get quietly pushed out. Not violently, just denied opportunities. Support education. No conspiracy, just herd behavior. The lower the variability of a population, the more stable it becomes, and the dumber, because development requires diversity, and society hates diversity. It fears it. So we isolate criminals rightly, but we also suppress the highly intelligent and unconventional, because they destabilize the system. And then we wonder why science stagnates, why creators are rare, why the world is full of managers of normality instead of people who actually move things forward.